Yo, what's going on, guys? All right. So, Bitcoin, just a hair under $102,000. Looks like the double bottom is playing out exactly as anticipated. I did tell you guys yesterday and the day before that we could see a potential double bottom play out. I think I was looking at the chart earlier today. I think that the breakout on the double bottom would be somewhere around 110 resistance, 110,000, 110,500. But I think at 110,000, you're going to meet some resistance. You might reject off of that, but either way, it's a nice breakout from a double bottom to get us back up over 108,000, which would be fantastic for a nice little level of consolidation between like 110 and 100 and like 108, 109. Be a decent little level of consolidation on the breakout. Still probably going to take a couple more days. I don't think we'll see that happen. I mean, what is it? Wednesday? Maybe Friday, Saturday. It could happen on the weekend. Usually I would say, traditionally I would say not on the weekend, maybe next week, but I mean, weekends over the last 6, 7 months have been, surprisingly green. And the weekdays have been the ones that have been red. So you never know. You never know, right? We could see it happen this weekend, but at the latest, I think next week, if we can hold 101 for support, which we did today with the daily candle close. So that worked out nicely. So yeah, the double bottom definitely in play so far. So we'll see what happens. Government is opening back up. I believe, anyways. I mean, I guess last minute, stuff could happen to prevent that, but government's opening back up. We have CPI coming out, right? Next week, I think next week, CPI is coming out. So we'll get a decent little gauge on potential rate cut for December based on what the CPI and PPI say, right? That's a next week thing, though, I believe. Now, if they come in, stating that we're likely that we could see an increased odds of a rate cut in December. And like I said, since the beginning of this month, guys, I said we're probably going to see the chances of a rate cut in December creep its way up till it gets back over 90% sometime before the end of this month, or the first day or two of next month, whatever. We'll see the chances get increase, especially PPI and CPI could really propel us forward in terms of that, and that would cause the market to start pricing in a rate cut, right? So we'll see what happens. I know that Powell was saying all the right things to kind of lead people to believe that we might not get a rate. Ooh, we might not get a rate cut. Right? He does that on purpose. He doesn't want to pump markets. He's even come out and said he deliberately says things so that he doesn't pump markets. Right? He does it on purpose. And when markets aren't going to pump, but they'll dump, he'll be neutral. Right? So he does this on purpose. And to be honest with you, that in itself is kind of a form of market manipulation, is it? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. Does that feel like a form of market manipulation to you? It kind of screams it to me. If he knows that the truth of a potential rate cut in December will pump the markets, but he chooses to allude to no rate cut in December, that would be market manipulation, wouldn't it? I mean, I don't know. That's just my own personal opinion on it, but yeah. So double bottom, anyways, looking good. Other thing I kind of wanted to address, and it's been kind of excessive lately because listen, guys, altcoins have been absolutely over the course of the last 6 months, 8 months, just been destroyed, right? Essentially, all of them. You get the outlier that pumps here and there, right? One or two coins here, one or two coins there. They pump, they go on a nice little run, then they correct. The chances of you knowing which coin is going to pump, guys, is astronomically low. So don't sit there going, oh, if I had just bought Dash, or if I had just bought Zcash, or whatever, Filecoin, or whatever's pumped recently, right, over the last couple of months. Don't do that to yourself. You can't know. You can't know. Let me ask you, do you know what's going to pump next week from right now? Of course not. So why would you look back and go, if I just bought that? Because you can't know. Don't do that. Hindsight is one of the worst things you can do. in this asset class, guys, is to look back and go, if I had only. That's not healthy, and it never ends well, right? And my light just turned off. There we go. So, oh, I've accidentally turned the light off. Anyways, like I was saying, the chances are low. So don't do that to yourself, guys, right? I mean, it's not financial advice. I'm just here to entertain and educate you. But the best thing that I would say would be find projects that you've done research on, that you have conviction in, and just wait. Wait for your investment to mature. I know it's painful sometimes. I know that a lot of your altcoins right now are beat up and decimated, and it just feels like they're never going to come back, ever, right? I get it, guys. I get it, right? If you're, and one of the questions I get all the time is like, whether it's Myria or SEI Network or Cardano or whatever it is, right? I get this question all the time, daily, multiple times saying, hey, Rob, do you think that XYZ coin is, do you think it's ever going to pump again? Do you think it's going to have a bull run? It's one of my biggest bags. What do you think, man? Guys, listen, sorry about the dogs. Pretty much everything pumps in an altcoin season. Everything, okay? Now, for a little bit of perspective for you, for a lot of you guys who were not here in the last cycle, and I know that's a lot of you guys, right? In May of 2021, or 2021, yes. In May of 2021, we saw Bitcoin. So, like, little perspective first, okay? This last crash, what was it for Bitcoin? 13, 14, maybe 17%, something like that, right? And alts bled, right? No different than they always do, right? When Bitcoin crashes like that. So let's be generous and say 17% it fell, right? Now, in terms of liquidations, it was the highest liquidation level in the history of Bitcoin and crypto, right? That's liquidation levels, though. It was only about a 14 to 17% flash crash, which doesn't feel good, let's be honest, right? But in May of 2021, right, which was what? May, June, July, August, September, October, November. May was 7 months. 7 months from the blow off top, from the end of the 2021 cycle. Okay, it ended around November, December was the top, right? My nose is itchy. So in saying that, what happened in May? Bitcoin had a 44% correction. 44%. Can you imagine how you would feel enduring a 44% correction on Bitcoin? Imagine how you felt on a 17% correction. Imagine how much alts were devastated, annihilated by a 44% correction in Bitcoin, right? Now back to that little bit I gave you before I said that. 7 months before the blow off top was finished. So we saw the market in May get completely and utterly devastated. Way worse, 2.5 times worse than the crash, most recent flash crash, right? And it's still not just Bitcoin, altcoins as well. Everything still started to recover in July, and from July until the end of November, beginning of December, some even into January, went absolutely parabolic. Now let me ask you a question. Do you think for 1 second that in May and June of 2021, riding the bottom of that massive Armageddon, scorched earth flash crash, do you think for 1 second anybody out there was not saying, it's a bear market, we're going down, that's it, This time's different, right? We've never seen this before. Bull run's over. Do you really think anybody out there was not saying that? Of course, everyone was saying that, right? Worse than it's been lately, right? And I'm telling you this because I know a lot of you guys weren't here for it, right? And the point is that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. If Bitcoin could flash crash in May of 2021 over 44%, and altcoins would become complete scorched earth devastation, and yet they still managed to have a parabolic run from July, August, September, October, November, for the next 6 months after that. You really think we can't do it this time? Do you really think that the bull run's over now? It's food for thought, guys, right? And listen, if you're new to crypto, if you've never been through a bull run before, right, and you know I'm talking to you, why don't you come over and join us in our Patreon community, where you can book one-on-one coaching calls with me personally. You can join our group coaching calls, and we can help guide you through this stuff with this kind of a perspective on a daily basis. We can keep you grounded. We can make sure that you're not acting emotionally, making mistakes. We can make sure that your portfolio is structured properly. You have an exit strategy in place, a profit-taking plan. You're able to identify where liquidity is in the market so your sell orders actually fill when the time comes to exit the market. When the music stops, you don't want to be left standing there without a chair. The link's down below, guys. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. I'll see you guys in the next one. God bless.